The night was darker than usual, like a thick black curtain spread across the city, hiding every secret it held beneath its silent, sleeping streets. A faint drizzle fell from the sky, turning the roads into shining mirrors reflecting broken yellow streetlights. At exactly 2:13 a.m., the sound of hurried footsteps echoed through an empty lane behind an old factory where no one ever came after sunset. The factory had been abandoned for over 12 years after a mysterious fire destroyed its upper floors, leaving only the black skeleton of burned iron pillars and dusty cement walls standing as reminders of its tragic end. People in the area believed it was haunted, and no child ever dared to step near its rusted gate. But tonight, a young woman was running barefoot on the wet ground, her white dupatta soaked with rain and her eyes wild with terror. Her breath came in shallow gasps as she stumbled forward, glancing back again and again to make sure he wasn't close behind her. Her name was Meher, a 24-year-old journalist who never believed in ghosts or dark spirits until the last 3 days turned her world into a living nightmare. It all began when she received an anonymous email with a single line typed in bold. "If you want to know the truth about your father's death, come to Almas factory at midnight." At first she thought it was a prank because her father died 10 years ago in a simple road accident, or so everyone told her. But the next day, a parcel arrived at her office desk, wrapped in plain brown paper, without any sender's name. Inside was a photograph of her father, sitting on a dusty chair, his face swollen and beaten, with the factory's logo visible behind him on the metal wall. Her entire body went cold. Her father was an honest police officer, and his death was declared accidental when his car crashed into a tree on M2 motorway at 4 a.m. while he was returning from an official assignment. But now, looking at the photograph with the date scribbled on the back, just a day before his death, she felt her knees weaken under her. Her mind refused to accept the possibility that everything she believed all these years was a lie. For 2 nights she couldn't sleep, staring at the ceiling fan in her room, hearing her father's last words echo in her memory, telling her to always stand by the truth. She knew she had to find out what really happened. So at midnight, she entered the broken gate of Almas factory, holding her small torch tightly, her phone camera on record mode, documenting every step. The deeper she walked inside, the stronger the smell of burnt wood and damp cement became, mixing with something foul that made her stomach churn. As she climbed the metal staircase, her feet making creaking sounds, her mind screamed for her to turn back. But she kept going until she reached the 2nd floor, where the walls were half broken and the roof open to the sky, letting moonlight fall on the blackened floor. That's when she saw him. A man in a long black coat standing near the edge, his back turned towards her, staring down at the ground floor where broken machines lay scattered. She tried to gather courage and asked in a trembling voice, "Who are you? Why did you call me here?" Slowly, he turned to face her, and her heart almost stopped beating. He wore a black mask covering his entire face, with only 2 small eye holes, and in his gloved hands, he held a thick rope tied into a noose. In the dim light, she could see his chest rising and falling calmly, as if her presence didn't surprise him at all. "Meher," he spoke in a deep, rough voice, sending chills down her spine. "You shouldn't have come alone. Now you will never leave." She turned to run, but her foot slipped on the wet concrete, and she fell, hitting her elbow hard on a rusted metal rod sticking out of the floor. Pain shot through her arm, but she pushed herself up, ignoring the blood trickling down. She grabbed her phone from where it fell and sprinted down the stairs, her sandals left behind. As she ran through the corridor, she could hear his footsteps following her calmly, each step echoing like a death bell in the hollow building. She reached the main gate and pushed it open, but the heavy iron refused to move. She banged it with her fists, crying silently, trying not to make too much noise, hoping he would lose her in the dark. But when she turned back, he was standing barely 10 feet away. His masked face tilted slightly as if he was observing her fear with amusement. Meher picked up a stone from the ground and threw it at him with all her strength, hitting his shoulder. He didn't flinch. Instead, he took out a long knife from his coat pocket and began walking towards her. Tears rolled down her cheeks as her mind raced for ideas. She spotted a narrow gap between the broken gate and the wall, barely enough for her to squeeze through. Without thinking, she forced her body sideways into the gap, scraping her skin against the rusted iron.